What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we'll be taking a look at the best Alpha Grand Prix car for skills. Now, the funny thing is, my favorite vehicle in the actual Alpha Grand Prix class for racing and stuff is the Alpha Mark X, so I'm going to end up using this car again for the skills, mainly because it is so good. I would also say the Expo R Racing Spear is also pretty amazing. Unfortunately, this car is obviously in the recent Motor Pass, so many might not actually have this vehicle. So if you're looking for an alternative, the Alpha Mark X not only can do races, but it can also do skills very, very well. So I'm going to escape with it and then a couple of Slaloms as well and talk about this thing a little bit more, because if you guys are looking for a good car in each class to do the skills and the races with, the Alpha Grand Prix class obviously is one class that seems to be in a lot of things now in the summits, and the Alpha Mark X is pretty amazing and can seem to do it all. Let's jump right into it. Now jump into one of the Slaloms here. Now this car is absolutely my favorite for doing these guys. It is so good on the Slaloms, actually pretty amazing. One of the things I've been noticing in a lot of the summits though is, you can pretty much do these in a lot of the vehicles there, which is why I have been making like street class and all that. But I feel like the handling of these F1 cars is just amazing, and you can pretty much get an insanely high score in these without really struggling too hard. I have been noticing the cars are plenty fast. Obviously, you can turn on a dime and get you an amazing score in these, which is very, very important. The funny thing is I really haven't seen that many people actually running the F1 cars on these, and I was kind of surprised because I'm like, man, these things are really good. The handling on the F1 cars are amazing. And when I go and look in the leaderboards and the summits, I'm like literally the only person actually running these, and I really recommend you all to actually try these cars out. You might actually be surprised how good they actually are. I'm using them over pretty much everything right now. I will be testing out the touring car bikes as well once I get the score break percent on that. I'm pretty close, and I'll be making a video about that as well coming up soon. But the F1 car's handling is just so superior for me, at least, and I feel like I can always get a 150 plus K every single time in the summits on these, and that is a huge, huge help going after Platinum. One of the biggest reasons why I actually use the F1 cars, not only because of their speed, but the handling of these cars are obviously amazing, and I feel like for Slaloms they could be very, very useful, and you won't really struggle as much doing these while driving these cars because they pretty much handle on a dime, and going in and out of the Slaloms like that. Having a car that can actually turn very well is something that I definitely look for in these, and I've actually been running this car on almost every road Slalom in the past, well, however many summits actually had these, and I've always gotten around 155k in literally almost all of them. So I would say if you guys are looking for a car overall to run these with, this would probably be a very, very good option. Now I'm going to jump into an Escape and talk about this car a little bit more in there. So now for the Escape, guys, the last thing I'm going to be doing here with this car, I want to talk about this thing a little bit more here. So there's a couple things about this car that does set it off a little bit on the Escapes, and that is that the top speed on this one's only about 270 miles or so. I have noticed some of the other F1 cars do about 295 or so. So I'm going to be doing a video about that in the future for the fastest top speed of the F1 cars there. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, let's jump right into this Escape. So this one was in a summit a while back, and I did actually run this car on this, and I did pretty well. Overall, I feel like these cars are a very, very good, viable option for the Escapes. Depending on where they are, at least I know a lot of them do require drag cars. Sometimes hypercars might be a better version as well because they can go off-road a little easier, because we all know, apparently you have to drive the hypercars down mountains apparently. And we know the F1 cars cannot handle at all off-road, which can definitely be a big issue. So trying to get pretty much the best score and some of these summits, or, doing these Escapes. And I have been noticing if they have a lot of turns and stuff like that, the F1 cars might be a very, very good option to be using. So they get around the turns much faster than the hypercars can, and that could definitely be something to look for when doing this. I have been noticing, though, in a lot of the Escapes that I haven't really been seeing really anybody use these F1 cars as much, probably because I just feel like they're maybe not as good as they used to be for these. Most people running like hypercars and all that, like in this one, for example, once getting to the straightaway here, you'll probably be able to pull away and get around like 5 or so K maybe. But I only got about 4,200 on this one there. You really can't get the highest score on these because I feel like the speed of the F1 cars may not be there compared to the hypercars, or they might not be as good, and we all know the drag cars are pretty much on top there. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and definitely tune into the Mark X here, using these things on at least the Slaloms anyway. If you're looking for an Escape, gonna probably want to run a hypercar on those, probably because they might be a little better for off-roading, maybe getting more speed boost and stuff like that. But this car is amazing for Slaloms, and I highly recommend taking a look at it if you're looking to use the Alpha Grand Prix cars for skills, because they are actually a great option.